If you don't fuck with
Zaya X0712,
you're just a bitch-ass trick.
What's poppin', everybody? Thank you yet again for tuning into the channel. Back on behalf of www.easethecrave.com. You're going to check out that link in the description. And this time, back with another Z-mail. I've done a few already, and we're going to go ahead and jump into another one. I just want to say thank you to everyone who supported and everyone who has submitted Z-mails. I try to get to all of them, but if I don't, I apologize. It's just been really busy lately. So let's stop wasting time. Let's go ahead and jump into this next one. My question is more of a discussion topic, but I definitely wanted to get your opinion on the matter. I'm really big into Nike ID and always have been. The popularity of Nike ID has seemed to have grown a little over the year or so, and still is not as big as a market as I would think. I for one love the unique result you get from designing the shoe, but I'm also a huge fan of loud, bright shoes, and Nike ID is a great way to get those options. People seem to love rare shoes, and nothing is more rare than some of these one-of-one colorways people come up with. I figured a lot of the issue was the price increase Nike adds to the Nike ID option. But when you look at eBay auctions of IDs, a lot of the time, there aren't bids on them. What are your personal opinions about Nike ID, and where do you think it's headed? Thank you for your time. All right, so you heard the question from the gentleman, and I gotta say, for one, I have always said that Nike ID is, it's almost like a diamond in the rough. I don't really think that Nike understands the length that they could go to with Nike ID. One of the main reasons is Nike is about as trusted and is about as big as a shoe company is going to get, plain and simple. At this point, they could pretty much just put a lot of these shoes up for some sort of pre-order status, because that's technically what Nike ID is. You're just pre-ordering a shoe. At the same time, Nike is allowing you to just put whatever colors you want on it. So, you know, it still has to go to the process of being made and all that. And I feel like Nike ID definitely could help with particular shoes sitting, producing an abundance of shoes that are not really needed when you could just secure them on Nike ID. Now, that's just me, you know, that's my own personal take on it. I just thought that they could really expand with the Nike ID. But if we're just looking at what we have now for Nike ID, I think it's a great system. One of the reasons, and something you touched on, that yes, it is rare. You're making literally a one-of-one, unless you're doing like a Yeezy, unless you're trying to make a colorway that you've already seen. That's when it starts to get where there's more and there's an abundance. But for the most part, Nike IDs are not valuable. And the reason I say that is because if you can make a Yeezy colorway, it doesn't necessarily make it Yeezy valuable, or what people perceive to be valuable for a Yeezy shoe. Same way with you know, a bread colorway. Just because you make a bread colorway in a LeBron doesn't mean that, you know, if you go and try to sell it on eBay, it's going to get you the same amount of money as Jordan Bread 11. Producing or duplicating colorways is not, it's shown that it doesn't really help the Nike ID option. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm the same way as you are. I love bright shoes, I love loud shoes, and I think Nike ID gives the customer or the consumer the option to now design their own shoes. Now, let me add a little bit of conspiracy theory in there. And you guys gonna probably be like, yo, this guy's crazy. Nike ID though, I feel like it's a way for Nike to test out colors within the consumer. So I feel like with the whole Nike ID option, let's say if I keep track of how colorways are being made, what colors are being requested the most. I'm sure you get a lot of black and red, but for me with Nike ID, when you go on Nike ID, it's to make a colorway that is not made, obviously. So I feel like it's sort of like a way to track what your customers like, because if you see them producing the same type of shoe in the same manner, then you know, oh shit, we could release a shoe like this and it probably would do well because people are already ordering it. But for the most part, I love Nike ID. I think it's amazing. I think giving who would have ever thought 10 years ago that, you know, Nike would say, okay, you as the customer, we're going to give you the ability to design your own shoe. You know, you may not be designing the physical silhouette of the shoe, but, you know, it's like a job. You know, there's a guy that does the actual silhouette, and then they pass it to probably a department where they figure out the colorways and stuff like that, and you're in that department. That's your department now. You get to figure out the colorway, and you get to figure out what works for you. And, you know, a lot of times, let me tell you something, a lot of times, Nike IDs have come to clearance, and obviously, you know, the person that submitted this question, he knows me from Instagram. So you've seen that I post a lot of Nike IDs too for sale and stuff like that, or for trade or whatever. And to me, it's just insane, some of these colorways that come through, and I'd be like, why did you return this? Like, this is such a nice colorway. This is such a nice shoe. And there's tons of videos. You can go back and look. I usually label them Nike ID in the title, but tons of shoes that is just like, wow, like this is crazy fire, crazy dope. But for the most part, I think Nike ID is an amazing system. I love it. I think that they could really expand. Now, this is something that people are gonna, no, don't say it. And I like to consider myself a person that is logical. You know what I'm saying? And at this point, what's really stopping them from putting J's on there, Jordans on there, for real? Like, the colorways? That's what someone has told me, that the only reason Jordans are not on there is because they don't want you duplicating the colorways they've already made. But I feel like if you really look at Nike ID makes it to where you can't really duplicate the shoes that they've already made, or at least the popular shoes that they have already made. So I think they could do the same thing with Jordan. And I think that, you know what, maybe they need to put some of them J's on there. Matter of fact, you want to play around? Make the J's 14 through 23 available on Nike ID. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people don't like those J's, right? I just think it would be different. It'd be something different. It'd be something cool. I wouldn't mind seeing more people with J's from 14 and up. Would I cop? Probably so. But I don't know which model though. It would have to be, nah, I don't really like any of those models. I think it's the 16 with the shroud. I think it's the 16. I think I fuck with the 16. But I say put some J's on it. I can't wait till Nike SB makes it to Nike ID. I tell you that. Because Nike ID is not on there. The Dunk is on there. Which the Dunk is just, it's just a horrible feel. I prefer Nike ID. I prefer Nike SB. If you put Nike SB on there with suede options, ooh, oh Lord. So for the most part, I do like Nike ID. I think it's the new wave. It's a way for you to create your own shit and not really have to be worried about wherever you go, fucking 700 people got the same shoes as you. So I'm 100% in the same boat as you, brother. I just wish that they had a little more options that were options that I liked, because they do have an amazing catalog of shoes to Nike ID. But there's nothing that I really like. Now, the KD7 is about to be done, I think, soon, a few months. I definitely want to rack up on the KD7. So I may make 2 or 3 of those models to get them and to hold them, because I love the KD. The KD7 is amazing, and I'm mad I never jumped on the KD4. So for the most part, hopefully I've answered your question. Nike ID, amazing thing. You could definitely try it out on www.nike.com. And go ahead, play around with it, man. You don't never know, man. You could make something that you really like. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. I thank everyone who has submitted a question, especially you, my brother, and anyone who would like to submit a question. Zaya_X_0712 is where you can send it at yahoo.com. At yahoo.com. And with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Everybody stay safe, fresh. Catch you on the next one. Peace.